HOKA changed the world, changed the running scene. It was at the time when the minimalist shoe was popular, and then HOKA comes out the exact opposite. I have no complaints. I would never done anything different. I've always done things that I wanted to do. It's really cool that HOKA stood behind me the whole time. They're supporting me, and I'm psyched. Can't thank them enough. Yeah, so I wore these in the first race I went to in HOKAs was this pair. But yeah, these are, what are these, 2s or 3s? 2s and 3s are almost the same thing. These were really similar. It was at the time when the minimalist shoe was popular, and then HOKA comes out the exact opposite, but they changed the world. It changed the running scene. Like anything else, timing is everything with a lot of stuff. My name's Karl Meltzer. I'm an ultramarathoner. I run for HOKA. My quest now is to run 100 milers. I'm getting close. I live in Ridgeway, Colorado, God's country. My dad was on ski patrol at a place called Big Boulder, Pennsylvania, small little mountain. But when I was 3, he would bring me skiing, you know. I mean, every single weekend, I went skiing with my dad. You know, it creates a good bond and all, as well. And by the time I was 6 or 7 years old, he was following me. That bond became where I started running when I was about 10. I just sort of follow my dad on a 6-mile run and keep up. And my dad always brought me places, skiing and running and things like that. But that's really when I sort of started liking running. Even 2 years before high school, I'm gonna say 7th grade, I used to run with the high school team at a place called Central High School in Manchester, New Hampshire. And I would keep up with them. You know, they would beat me obviously in a 5K or something, but in a real race, but I would keep up with them in training. And that sort of inspired me. You know, I was like, oh, I'm gonna run cross country and track when I go to high school. And my freshman year in high school, I was one of the faster kids. I wasn't the fastest on our cross country team, but there was a future for me there. SPEEDGOAT has a lot of history, the name itself behind us. The name came about when I was driving home from the Pikes Peak Marathon with my friends Scott Mason and Dan O'Connor. That year, I think it was 93, we're driving home around Route 70 near kind of Grand Junction, Colorado. A jackrabbit ran across the road, and I'm sitting in the back seat, and I was like, that's a SPEEDGOAT. And it just came to me, and all 3 of us started laughing. In 1999, where I was going to the Zane Grey 50, I entered as Karl Meltzer. I paid my $60 or whatever. I entered the race, but the race director put Wasatch SPEEDGOAT as my name instead of Karl Meltzer. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool, you know, right? Like, wow. And then it sort of stuck. Like then a couple people called me SPEEDGOAT, just friends, you know. But it was the coolest thing though about the whole thing with HOKA is that like it all fell into my lap when I met Nico, and the phone rang. Saw that it was from like a French number because it was plus 15, I think it is, or whatever. And typically I wouldn't pick up the phone like that. For some reason I picked that one up. This is Nico Mahmoud. Do you remember me from France, from UTMB? That's French accent. And I'm like, yeah, I remember you. He's like, yeah, I got these shoes I want to show you. And I was like, you know, yeah, bring him over, what the hell? So he brings him over, he takes them out of the bag, and I'm sitting on my couch, and I was like, whoa, like what is that? You know, he talked about the concept of running downhill fast, and he's like, would you give it a try? I'm like, sure. I put them on, and then before you know it, like I was running around the block, and it was really similar to that. And I was like, these are awesome. And I was just like, I was blown out of the water how comfortable those things were. I was just like, wow. It kind of wowed me, you know? I loved them. If I didn't pick up that phone call, who knows where I'd be, right? And that was 2009. And yeah, I mean, the rest is kind of history, right? So I went through 18 pairs of these on the Appalachian Trail. 18 pairs. The first time I attempted the Appalachian Trail was 2008. You know, I did not get the record then. I got injured in Vermont after day 14, I think. But what I did is I learned from my mistakes, right? 2014, I went and did the AT on my own dime. I paid one of my friends $1,000 a week to come crew me. And after I did that, I think Red Bull said, this guy really wants to go after the AT, right? I said, how about we do it in 2016, and I'll go do more recon, I'll learn the trail. I drove the entire trail in my car, marked off every location, every place to park, where the grocery store was, where the laundromat was. I drove the whole AT. It took me a little over a month. And then the following year in 2016, I did it. The SPEEDGOAT shoe came out, the SPEEDGOAT 1, good grip on the trail, and when they flowed, they were good. They were good. They were a solid shoe for what I was doing, right? You know, then we go fast forward to I finish the thing. I end up breaking the record. You know, I coined the phrase 100 miles is not that far. I coined that phrase after I did the AT, because it's 100 miles when I'm doing 55 miles a day, you know. It made it sound easier. But when the film came out, all of a sudden it was boom, boom, boom. There was a little thing that went viral of me eating chicken and burgers and all this stuff, which was hilarious. I had 12 million views within like 2 days, and I was just like, what, you know. What was interesting about the film was it was sort of like it wasn't just like this guy runs this fast. There was a human interest story to it as well. You know, like my dad was curling me. I mean, when I moved to Utah, I was 20, I was just before I turned 22. But I moved away, you know. I didn't hang out with my dad as much. He retires, he was like 62 or 63 or something. What am I gonna do when I retire, you know? And then the AT came along and he was there to crew. But it made our relationship better, you know. Those are all 5 Hard Rock trophies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a kind of a cool trophy. Bear 100 is another Utah race. And I've got with these Wasatch 100 under 24 hours. The project of finishing 100 hundreds, this never really came to me till about 4 years ago. I was like, I still want to run for HOKA. Like, I'm not done yet, you know. Like, I don't want to disappear into the wilderness and just, you know, be done. I want there to be something at the end of the tunnel. I kept doing it, and now I'm at 93. My goal is to get done by 2027. If and when I achieve that, hopefully it's at the Hard Rock 100. As long as my mental space stays strong enough, it's not going to be a problem. Did I ever think it would go global? Of course not. And then when I hear about, you know, Japan and other areas in Asia and in Europe, when I went over to UTMB the last time, there's so many people learning. And I'm just like, it's just surreal. Like, that's like my signature shoe. And like, it's in the display in the window and it's in the, you know, the sports stores. It sometimes can bring me to tears. It's really cool that HOKA stood behind me the whole time. I'm 58, right? Like, how many runners are 58 that run for a company? Not many, right? They're supporting me, and I'm psyched, and, you know, I can't thank them enough for the whole thing worked out, you know.